morning I'll be reading from Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age."
Preston, thank you very much. Brandon, thank you very much. Thank you, young man. So we've got these professional golfers here, professional football players in here. We got basketball players in here. We got all kinds of professionals in here. And then we got us Christians. Wow, don't get no better than that. Don't get no better than that. You know, when I thought about that this week, and I got a little text from a mama, and it's funny how songs can get in your head, and you know, we sing them, and the song we used this morning was absolutely fabulous. But it's funny how everybody works together, and in our Bible study we were talking about how we work together, ladies and gentlemen. You got to work together. We're a unit. It's not a one-man show, in this case a two-man show. We're all one in Jesus Christ. Do you agree with that? We're here to be a team. We want to go undefeated. We don't want to get beat one time. We want to have the national championship right here, okay? And we're here not to say we're better than everybody else. We want everybody else to be on that same team. That's what we want to do. Okay, can you hear me right now? Can you hear me, Jim? You can't hear me? Can anybody else hear me? We're having problems. Okay. Is it on? Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I don't want to blow everybody up here. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what we do, we're in it. We got to work together. And we've been looking at a series which I will conclude here in a few minutes. And I do mean a few minutes. You're going to be out and ready to go eat lunch. You're going to say, "Thank you, Danny Allen. Thank you so much." Yeah. Preston, hold on. Okay. And he wants to play me golf. Yeah, right. No, it's not happening now. Anthony might be a better golfer. Okay. I'm not. Okay. The George Street Church of Christ. You know what we do? We wish. The wishes is that everyone will have a good school year. Wonderful. We have seniors in here. You know, every year you guys get people who are graduating. We have this year. And you know what? We got to get behind them. We got to cheer them on. This is the beginning of embarking on a new journey. You know, senior, and then they go off and, oh my, you moms, good luck, all right? Good luck. It's tough. Now, some of you say, "I can't wait for that day." No, here's the keys, all right? But no, it's hard. I understand. I know when I was 18 years old, I told my mom, I told my dad, "Hey, I'm going to Florida." "What do you mean you're going to Florida?" Guess what I did? I went to Florida. Just took off. Even though where I was going, just went. But I knew he was with me. His name is Jesus. I don't have it all figured out, but I do know this. We are the light of the world. We've been talking about the Apostle Peter. Go tell Peter. And we're going to conclude this today. If you have God with you, who else do you want with you? You're going to have good times in this life. And we had a wonderful time this morning. You know, really great. See, if you will see the little smiles on these kids' face when Anthony's leading a song or when we go to a song, I'm telling you, it's just I come up here and I'm just like, wow, this is what life is about. This is why we get excited, because you will be spending those $100 bills on those little children one day, okay? You're going to be doing that. That's just the way it is. But the thing about it is, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you get them $1 bill, because you know what? They would be, wow. I remember when someone gave me a $2 bill, I thought, wow, this is so cool. Now, I thought it was $200, but it was a $2 bill. But nonetheless, I like that. It doesn't matter what you have. You do the best you can that God has given you, because you're not judged. You are a child of God if you've been baptized into Him. And yes, you can be a great bus driver, Nettie. I didn't know Nettie was a bus driver. I went into her in Walmart, and she's getting, Her eyeglasses fixed, some guy being a bus driver. No, she was getting tipped on him, okay? But, I love that. That's a hard job. And if you don't think it's a hard job, try driving a college football team. God, man. Then you got the girls' basketball team. Oh, college. Oh, yeah. You're going to Tennessee. Oh, yeah. We're Christians. Go tell Peter. We know this because we've been going over it for 2 weeks, and we'll conclude it right now in Mark 16:1. But go tell his disciples. And a lot of you have told me your thoughts on that. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I love it. Every one of you, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Very, very, very good. The angel said, it's an angel now Matthew's account doesn't, this account doesn't say, but now Matthew's account. But nonetheless, the angel said, but go and tell his disciples, he's emphatic. He's emphatic. And no one knows what an angel looks like. We know that. An angel can look just like us. God can do whatever he wants to do. In the scriptures it says, you might not even know. But the angel said, go tell his disciples, and he said, and Peter. Now, he's not saying, please get this out of your mind if you're thinking this. He's not saying that Peter was not a disciple. Oh, no, he's not meaning that at all. But I'll tell you for sure what he is saying. Remember what Peter just did? Jesus talked to him face to face. Jesus does not stutter when he talks. And I'm not making fun of the people who stutter. Sometimes I used to get nervous when I was in grade school, standing up doing a book report, okay, in front of people. I was so, scared to death to say, really, you? Terrified? Man, I don't know what happened to me. All right? That went away very quickly. He's not saying he's not a disciple. But Jesus is saying, you know what, Peter, you're special. And what I said to you earlier, you can book it. Because whatever the Bible says, you can book it. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. So when we look at this, Peter said, in other occasions, you know what? We said this last week, I am a sinful man, O Lord, Luke 5, verse 8. Folks, it's hard for a proud person to admit he's a sinner. You understand that, right? A proud person is not going to admit he's a sinner. He's just going to say, no, honey, it's your fault. But making me look bad. If any of you men do that, I'm telling you, you need help. Because we're all guilty. Look at it. Subliminal here. Look at it. We're all guilty. Danny, you're guilty. You've been guilty of sin, Danny Allen. But I'll tell you what, who covers me? Just like the blood. Undemanded. Just like the blood. You know who covers us? I'll tell you who covers us, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Jesus Christ. Isn't that a wonderful blessing that on this 18th day of August, 2024, you have the blood of the Lamb. And if you don't have the blood of the Lamb, you better get the blood of the Lamb before you walk out of this little building. Because we're not promised tomorrow, are we? We're not promised tomorrow. We got today. Today is the day of salvation. Go tell Peter. When we look at this in Luke 22, verses 54 through 62. You know what? Wonderful passages. We've heard these passages. I've heard Anthony preach on it. I've glanced at it. Little tidbits I get out of these passages, ladies and gentlemen. What we learn from these passages, what you learn from studying to show yourself approved unto God. You're a workman. You don't need to be ashamed because you're rightly dividing this sword of the Spirit. 2 Timothy 2, verse 15. Ephesians 6:10. We got it. We're trying to be strong in the Lord and in His power. We might not have our mind figured out, but God can help you. You might be hodgepodge in some areas, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I want to be. I never knew what I wanted to really be. It's like I was always, I don't know. But I know what I should be. I need to be a child of God. I need to show people Jesus. Now, what does Jesus look like? Does he wear a Hawaiian shirt? My daughter got this for me. That's what I told Benny. Benny walked in and said, "Whoa, I like your shirt." Benny, you can have it if you want it. Don't tell Jasmine. So when we look at the account of the gospel, the doctor, the physician, the doctor, Luke, you know the story, you're good Bible students. Sabrina, we're so glad you're back. She's been down with her daughter for several weeks. That's what a mom or a dad will do. That's what they'll do. When your boy, when your girl, they need help, you'll be there for them. Did you hear me, parents? You go run it to them. Because that's all you got, really. There's so many people, they don't even know their siblings, they don't even know their children, they don't even know their grandchildren. You don't make no time now, there won't be no time. 3 times, Peter said, 3 times. Being redundant here? 3 times, Peter said. I'll tell you what, Jesus, for some reason, he loved this guy. I don't know the man. He didn't say it like this. I don't know the man. I don't know the man. You're dead, Peter. Because of Jesus. I don't know the man. Don't be so hasty and point your fingers at Peter. In Luke 22, verse 57, he said, I don't know it. Could you imagine what Jesus thought? Could you imagine? This is earlier before he said, go tell the disciples. And the angel said, and Peter. You see, when you look at context in the Bible, look at context in the Bible. Don't look at one person, make your point. Look at the whole column and prove what is right. In Luke 22, verse 58, he says, man, I am not. But then we'll say one more time in Luke 22, 60 through 62. But Peter said, man, I do not know what you are saying. His life was on the line. Sometimes we might get scared. Folks, this is not no exaggeration. There's been times when I was in Romania, I did not think I was going to get out in some of those villages. I kind of like stood out like a sore thumb. Who's he? And what's in that bag he's carrying? See, I'm leaving when I give money to people, I take it to them personally. I don't give it to someone else to give it to someone else. I give it to them. The apostles would say, you give it to the apostles and we'll make sure it gets there. Ben, you don't know what you're saying. In Luke 22, look at this account, folks. Look at this account. In Luke chapter 22, in verse 60, you got it. But Peter said, man, I do not know what you are saying. And immediately while he was still speaking, the rooster crowed. And the Lord turned and he looked at Peter. Can you imagine that? The Lord turned and he looked at Peter. Can you imagine that? Get that in your mind. Get that imprinted. Get it pressed on your mind right now. Can you imagine that? If you would, for God's sake, maybe this is your last day. I'm not saying that. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered. You know what? And Peter, the angel said. Now watch this. Now Peter remembers without a doubt. He thought that, well, I don't know the man. He kind of remembered here, didn't he? You talk about being emphatic. The word of the Lord, how he said to him, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Then Peter, you know what happened to him? He was sad. He was brokenhearted. He wept bitterly. Has anyone in this room ever wept bitterly? Anybody? Anybody in this room ever wept bitterly? Look at my hand. I have wept bitterly. Folks, Peter denied the Lord 3 times, and I'm asking you right now, are you denying him too? I'm posing that to you. That's what preachers should be saying today. He should ring our bell. You see, believing in Lord, according to Jesus in Matthew 10 and verse 23 is very vital. Yeah, because I'm telling you what, we look around and we wonder, who is really watching us? Who is seeing us? Who is watching what we're looking at? Does my wife know what I'm looking at on my phone, or who I'm talking to at the office, or God? Yeah. No, people share all these theories, stories, and this way and that way. I always tell them, look to God. If you want to be healed, look to God. Who's watching? Go tell Peter. Luke 21, 21 and 22. Remember this? And the Lord said, Simon, Simon. You know what we're doing on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock right here? We're looking at a very vital subject. It's called prayer. The power of prayer. The power of prayer. I think prayer today, and for young people, they need to hear that. I feel that. Not because I'm doing it or Anthony's doing it, but we need to know why prayer is so powerful. You know what we need to know? Because look at this. Now, this wasn't too long. This wasn't to look at the context. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon. That's the Peter we're talking about. Go tell Peter, Simon. That's him. Indeed, now watch this. Indeed, Satan has asked for you that he may sift you as wheat. Isn't that powerful? I want you, Peter. I want to show you how strong I am. If you think that man over there is very strong, let me show you how powerful I am. Now watch this. Watch this part. Watch this. But you know what the Lord said? You know what Jesus said? But I have prayed for you. Don't you think prayer was important? I think it's very impactful. Why did you pray for me? Why? That you may not fail. Rise, shine, and give God the glory. And when you have returned to me, strengthen your brother. And come back to me, strengthen your brother. When you come back, strengthen your brother. What? Sift you as wheat? It's beautiful to look at a wheat field, isn't it? I love the smell. There's some smells I don't like, but I like the smell of wheat, okay? All right, I like the smell of wheat. I won't tell you the things I don't like. But anyway, and when it's freshly cut, freshly cut hay, you're saying, oh, I get allergies, my eyes are red. I'm not used to get that, but I get acclimated to it, okay? Get acclimated. I go out in the field, barefooted, and I walk around in it. He said, what's he doing? He's getting acclimated. He's grounding. It works for me, that's all I'm saying. Let's notice another account. Remember this? In John chapter 21, verses 15 through 17, so when they had eaten breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, you do love me. Remember this, we've studied this before. You do love me more than these, don't you? He said to him, yes, Lord, yes. You know that I love you. He said, feed my lambs. Okay, don't stop here. He said to him a second time, Simon, son of Jonah, you do love me. Remember, we heard this. Remember, we heard it. He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, tend my sheep. Remember? Yep. Wasn't too long, was it, Anthony? Wasn't too long. He said to him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? 3 times, do you love me? 3 times. You know what? Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time. He was grieved. Grieved. Do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know all things. You know everything about me inside and out. You know it. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. John 21, verse 15 through 27. What are preachers supposed to do? Feed the sheep. What are elders supposed to do? Feed the flock. What's deacons supposed to do? Help the elders. What are we supposed to do? This. 3 times. Do you think he was trying to get a point across to Peter? I do. 1 is good enough. 1 time enough. Come on, one time come on the Lord is good enough. It's a caveat. 3 times, will you just feed? Feed it? But when you have a plethora of people, ladies and gentlemen, and you're trying to get to everyone, it's a lot easier by using the whole congregation than just your whole one self, where you go ragged and you just go in circles. No preacher can do it. And most preachers won't do it. Because no one likes to be told no. But when you've done it as long as I have done it, and when I've been told no, and it just becomes another, you know what, well, I'll pray for you. Don't pray for me. Yeah, I'll pray for you. Because really, down deep in, I know I'm not talented, but I do know that I do care about people. I might not have the talent figured out how to dress myself. I used to, when my wife was living, she dressed me. You know, I used to look really good. Boy, I know that. Mark, I know that because my wife was like, oh, you look so good. And I miss that. Go tell Peter. Peter, do you love me? Lord, you know I love you. Tend my lambs. Peter, do you love me? Lord, you know I love you. Feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? The 3rd time. You know that I love you, Lord. You know. Jesus said, if you love me, take care of my people. That's what he said. Get your mind off yourself and think about others. That's what he said, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to think about other people. Don't walk just by them and act like you don't see them, act like you're embarrassed, act like you don't want to get involved. It's time to help people. Now, I'm not saying for women to go up and talk in and just give a man. That's not safe. I'm not saying that. But if you're in a public place where a lot of people is beside you or whatnot, and when you feel maybe you can't give them money, but you can at least say, I'm praying for you. Maybe can you walk right down here to this little coffee shop? I can get your. I don't have it all, but I can, and hopefully you'll have your boyfriend with you, your husband with you. I'm talking. You got to use common sense, but don't just like. Let's not go this way. Here's that homeless person, or here's this addict, or here's this lady. She's just skinning bones, or here's this. Use wisdom. So many times people in the church, they need help right in the church, and we're broadcasting the gospel everywhere else, but we forget about our own people in the church. I'm not saying here at George Street, but I have been with affiliations where they're out doing all these good things, but they forget about their own people in the church. I'm not saying it about here, but I've seen that, because they want a name for themselves. The name for yourself is Jesus. That's who's on that board out there. Our marquee. We want Jesus. The George Street Church of who? Christ. Get your mind off yourselves and look after others. Tend my lambs, feed my sheep. Not 1 time, or 2, but 3 times. And Preston, good night. You run it as clear as can be. Not only is he a golfer, a basketball player, a track star, good looking. The family, mom and dad, you got good genes. Anyone that saw my family, they'll say, they are so good looking. And I'm sitting there and say, oh, I know. They look just like your wife. Yeah. Yes. No, they look like both of us. Oh, Preston read to us was we need Jesus. We need us. Ladies and gentlemen, young marriage couples, please, if you're thinking about getting married, please hear me out. Or if you're married and you're still on your honeymoon stage, which you are on your honeymoon stage, Marty, how long have you been married? 24 years. You're on your honeymoon, aren't you? Okay, right. Well, let's say you hear that. Leslie, how long have you been married? Whoa, how coincidence. Or maybe they got it is. Lucas, how long have you been married? Okay, good. Stay that way, Lucas. Stay that way. Okay. In John 21, verse 18, most surely I say to use Jesus. Now watch this, because I'm almost done. Watch this. Come on. Watch this. Jesus, when you were younger, you girded yourself and you walked. Now this is Jesus talking, okay? Now watch. He's talking to Peter. Now watch what he says. Watch what he says. This is Jesus talking. When you were younger, you girded yourself and you walked where you wished. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will gird you and carry you where you do not wish. Do you know what he's saying there? Do you know what God is saying to Peter there, ladies and gentlemen? Do you get it? God, most Bible students don't get it. He spoke signifying by what death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, follow me. Wow. Peter is going to die a prisoner. I don't think he took him 3 times to figure that one out. He knows he's going to die a prisoner. Do you know what history tells us about Peter? You know what Josephus says, right? That he was crucified upside down. No, we don't know. I don't know about Job. No, it's not in the Bible, but we do know that they died a horrific death, most of them. But I can see Peter doing that because he didn't feel like he was worthy to be right side up. Prison. It's real. It's real. Peter is going to die, but folks, he is going to die in the Lord. You know how I know that? Because that's what 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 13, verse 14 said. He's going to die, but he's going to die in the Lord. You're going to die, but you're going to die in the Lord. As Peter wrote that down. You figured it out. So what we say, ladies and gentlemen, what we say in Mark 16 and verse 7, the angel said, and go tell his disciples and Peter. And he's going before you to Galilee. There you will see him. As he said to you, go tell Peter. We got it. So you know what we want to do? We want to invite you. We want to invite you to the dinner table. We want to invite you to the banquet table. You're invited. Can you think about any banquet? Johnny, what better place? Friday nights are getting exciting, isn't it? It's this Friday, first football game? Okay, forget about that. I missed that. Well, I'll be going to a football game this coming Friday. The Ridgewood Generals. Plays the Coshocton Redskins. That's where I play. I was inside in that game, and I tore them up. But then afterwards, I was torn up. I'll be there with my brother. And I was sitting on the Coshocton Redskins side. I'm not a Redskin, I'm a general, but I'm doing it because of my brother. But I don't get it because my brother was a general too. But he's bigger than me, so I would listen to him, all right? Do you need Jesus? Well, Paul's going to lead us in a song. Come.